football runs it way back. Kendall Gammon mines the wealth of knowledge of former players. Brought to you by Mid-American Wealth Advisory Group. Let them design the financial plan that is right for you. MidAmericanWealthAdvisory.com. Now, here's Kendall.
I'm joined now by former Chiefs defensive tackle Bill Maas. He was the 5th overall pick in the first round of the 1984 draft. First and foremost, Bill, appreciate you coming on. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Always a great time on Thanksgiving, right? How can you go wrong?
Exactly. Man, I was fortunate enough to come out and do your show on Thursday evening out at Hollywood Casino, and that was a great time, and we got a chance to talk, so I'm glad we get the chance to talk today even more. I guess it wasn't Thursday, it was Tuesday. My bad. I've been hitting the head too many times, folks. You all know that. Okay, we're going to talk about, with you being the defensive line, I do want to talk about Chris Jones here in a little bit, but I want to kind of go back in time because I think there's some things that people would really find interesting. I'm going to go back to your college career because I was looking at this earlier. I don't even know what to say when I see the teammates that you had at Pitt. Tim Lewis, Jimbo Covert, Dan Marino, Russ Grimm, Mark May, Hugh Green, Ricky Jackson. I mean, Tim was a coach with when I was at the Steelers. Ricky Jackson was a teammate briefly with the Saints. But all those names is just unbelievable. Can you just talk about a little bit about that time?
Yeah, it was really unique, and it's been a everlasting impression on the rest of my life. When you're 18 years old and you're making the decision where you're going to go spend the next 4 years of your life, and you're getting recruited by a number of different colleges, and which direction do you go? And all those guys, including myself, made the decision to go to the University of Pittsburgh. And at that time, head coach was Jackie Sherrill. And Jackie was one of the original 13 under Bear Bryant. And that's the way he coached. He was a hard coach. He was a tough coach, but he loved his players. He still stays in touch with each and every one of us to this day. I can't tell you how many times he texts me or calls and just wants to touch base, and we get together. And for those guys, Kendall, I mean, there's Chris Dolman, Ricky Jackson, Jimbo Covert, Russ Grimm, Dan Marino. I mean, they're all in the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
And here we were 18, 19 years old and playing college football together, and we got a bond forever. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, that really is cool. And for folks who don't remember, I mean, some of the things you did in your career is amazing. Rookie of the Year in 1984. You were a two-time first team All-Pro, two-time second team All-Pro, Pro Bowls multiple times, All-Rookie team. In a position that it is really difficult. I know you morphed it a little bit over your time, but I want to get your insight. And again, we're talking with Bill Maas, former defensive tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs, former first-round pick in 1984. Chris Jones. So what he did this last week, it stopped a QB draw there, just sniffed it out. In an interview with him, he took people through that play, and he talked about knowing what coverage they were on the back end and that they were man underneath, and knowing that the middle was going to be open so he couldn't get out of his rush lane. Can you talk to me how, in my mind, amazing that is for a defensive lineman to have that much acumen and really understand the whole defense and what's going on around him? He mentioned the fact that he had an open side to go, but he knew if he went that way, it would open up a lane, so he couldn't do that. He had to wait before he did it. To me, that's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. I would make it a priority that each and every time we go to training camp that I understood when we were in the complete, total defensive meeting room, that I understood what was the secondary and linebackers were doing on pass plays. And it becomes real beneficial. And it's so high tech now, Kendall, of understanding what everybody's doing. It's even understanding what side of the hash mark you're on to see, if you have the line judge or the side judge. And those things are different if you're covered up by a tight end, right?
True. Yes.
You can get away with a lot more. It's just the game right now is just so complex, and it takes smart guys to play the game. And I mean that literally. They have to understand what they're doing and when to do it. And Chris Jones, I'm just telling you as a guy that played the position, you and I talked on Monday night about, how demanding playing over all that period of time is on your body. And I've watched all the great defensive tackles, and you have a window. You have a window in your career that you can be dominant, and that window is a little bit different for some than others, But everybody's had their time in the light where you get all the honors and everything. But a defensive tackle, primarily, it wears you down quick.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen to Warren Sapp. I've seen it happen to Mean Joe Green. I've seen it happen to Michael Strahan. I've seen it happen to there's guys that can be dominant. J.J. Watt, right?
Yeah.
You have a window there, and then it starts getting you. Well, it hasn't gotten Chris Jones yet. I mean, he's still going, and I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, it's amazing too to be 6'5". 6'6", whatever he is, there in the middle. That's tough because you talk about leverage, and he doesn't have the leverage all the time, but he can bend his knees. He does a nice job. And then for the simple fact of now when he does get penetration, getting that long wingspan up, those long arms, that can really make it difficult for the offense and specifically the QB to have to throw between those windows because you certainly can't throw over him. Everything I've ever heard from the QBs they've talked about is the one thing they hate the most is getting push up the middle. And I would imagine that's one thing that defensive linemen take probably quite a bit of pride in.
Absolutely. To push to the center of the pocket, the quickest way between 2 points is a direct line, right? And if you're playing defensive tackle and that quarterback's in the pocket, you push that. They don't like pressure in their lap. They like to step into a throw. And not knowing where the guard's going to be or having defensive linemen get that push in the middle becomes real disruptive. And that's what Chris Jones is great at. He creates plays for other people almost every down. He either makes a play or creates it for other people to clean up. That penetration he causes is just really disruptive. And this year more than ever before, I see a lot more. He's playing at a lower pad level. When I used to watch him, I used to get frustrated because it looked like he would just stand straight up sometimes and give his chest to the offensive lineman. And I would notice that. And Joe Cullen has him playing at a different pad level now. And I think it's really helped his production.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And certainly last week in that big win at the Chargers, 2 big sacks, and he's just been playing at such a great level for sure. So, okay, we appreciate you taking time. I know your time is precious, so we're going to let you go. But before we do, just your thoughts on the game today, just in terms of maybe giving us a score, how you see this game playing out.
Yeah, the Chiefs are just there. They've got it, and it doesn't matter the opponent. They do what they do. And they don't let anything else disrupt them. Now, you're going to have some formidable foes. You're going to have other professionals, winning some battles here and there. But at the end of the day, it's the Chiefs, and I just see that going all the way through to the end of the season. I think it's a 32-26 win today for Kansas City.
Okay, you heard it right here. I think Chiefs Kingdom can deal with that one. As always, Bill Maas, we appreciate you coming on, and thanks for taking some time. You're listening to Fox Football on
Kendall.
101 The Fox.